Today on the Music Reel, we have Slim Jim Phantom all the way from LA with us today. My name's Nicola Burton from Music Means Business. We have Manny Kirikitis from the Pushworth Group and James. James, it is lovely to see you. How are you?
The music business.
Music definitely means business. So you're in LA right now. How's everything going with this whole lockdown scenario for you?
Yeah, great. They call me Slim Jim in the music business. James is what it says on my driver's license.
So Slim Jim, you're okay for us to call you Slim? Just
Yeah,
Slim Jim?
of course. Yeah, that's what they've been
Excellent.
calling me. Everything's really with us fine. The Stray Cats were off this year, so it didn't affect that part of our touring. My wife plays in Eagles of Death Metal, and they were supposed to be on tour right now in Australia. Supposed to be
Right.
Byron Bay like yesterday or today, and I was set to be in Australia recording a record with Jimmy Barnes, and that's obviously not on right now. But everything seems to be rescheduled more than canceled. So I've been going about my business. I do radio shows for Sirius XM, and we've learned to do those from home. So that's been doing okay. My biggest bummer was I was supposed to come and do a tour with Manny, and that's
That's
what's
right.
up now.
Yeah, we're
Next
doing another
year.
we're doing another headline tour with Slim Jim Phantom Trio. Obviously we've had you tour twice as Slim Jim Phantom Trio, and then also there was you and Mr. Glenn Matlock from the legendary Sex Pistols, which was all tours were hugely successful. So we're really looking forward to you coming over in June. You're actually going to headline the largest rock and roll festival on the east coast of Australia, called the Cooley Rocks, and that's been, I'm pretty sure that you're aware that that's now postponed to 2021. But we'll see what happens there. Slim,
but everything's going to be rescheduled. I think. I haven't used the word canceled once. I just say rescheduled.
Yes, postponed, rescheduled. I think that's the best way. Otherwise, it's a little bit too confronting, isn't it? Like no gigs.
Yeah, canceled is always one of those words in rock and roll you never want to use. It's always postponed and rescheduled.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So Slim Jim, what do you think is going to happen post-lockdown once we get through all of this? Do you think it's going to change the face of the music industry worldwide?
Well, I think something's going to change. We can open everything up as normal. It's up to the kids, the customers, when they feel safe enough to come back. I'm sure there'll be more, maybe some guidelines. I would think Manny would be more hip to what that's going to be. I know that when they tell me it's clear to play, I'll go play. That's what I do, and so I'm not particularly afraid. I think that I don't think we'll get to go ahead until things are okay. So I trust in a few of the people that know more than me in this business, like Manny, who's that's his specialty. I can go play the drums anywhere under any circumstances. He's got to put the show on.
Absolutely.
I've got to ask you first before Manny talks to you. You were probably one of the first guys to stand up playing the drums, the Rockabilly drums. Was that right?
Probably the first, I think.
What inspired you to do that?
Well, it was all part of the time. This is going back about 40 years ago now.
In the 80s, yeah.
We were trying to come up with a revolutionary way to approach rock and roll bands. And we were coming out of the late 70s, and we had fallen in love with rockabilly music, and a lot of our great idols, Buddy Holly, Gene Vincent, Elvis Presley, they used smaller kind of drum kits than had been the norm. And we thought, what would be the next natural progression? Make the drum kit even smaller and put the drums up at the front, and then stand up on top of it. It was really just the next progression in rockabilly for us.
Yeah, but you've inspired generations of rockabilly drummers after you that have come after you in those 40 years to actually follow. So
a few more, yeah.
It's far more exciting to actually watch a rockabilly show with the stand-up drums. So well done. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Manny.
Yeah, well, I've got some wonderful memories when you're one of the headline acts on Blues on Broadbeach. That was the last tour that we did in Australia, and it was just absolutely brilliant. It was, I think you actually, for that particular main stage, Slim, you hold the house record. It was absolutely brilliant. There was from memory, there were probably at least 7,000 people in that area. Wow. And it was absolutely brilliant. All the cars, all the fast cars were lined up, all the fantastic, 50s and 60s vehicles were all lined up on the street, and there were probably somewhere between around 700 to 1,000 rock and roll dancers all doing their thing in front of the stage. And it was like a surreal moment for me just to see that. It was interesting because all ages, I mean, there were kids there from, with mum and dad, 13, 15, 16-year-old girls and guys dancing to what you were doing. And it was it was an absolutely wonderful moment for me to watch that from the main stage.
So. Get me there. And I think with certain territories, especially it seems like for me with Australia, it's about putting the time in and going there. The Stray Cats first went there in 1981, when it was still kind of, there wasn't that many Western, well, outside of Australia, international acts going there that often. And the Stray Cats went there first in 1980 and spent a month. We went everywhere. And then we came back again a few times in the 80s. And then we came back twice, 88, 89. One of those times as the direct support for Jimmy Barnes, who's been my friend since the 80s. And and then since then, as a solo guy on my own, I've come back with you. I've come back quite a few times. So I think it's about putting the time in certain territories. And I dig Australia. I think there's a very, very strong rockabilly scene there. There always has been. And my other best buddy in the world is Chris Chaney from The Living End. And I've been with him a few times. And he was his band was a direct result of falling in love with the Stray Cats. His sister brought him to see the Stray Cats in 1986, I think, when she was supposed to be babysitting him. They snuck out of the house to the cat show. So I think it's really about, it's great to draw these big crowds, but like, Manny knows these things don't happen overnight. The same as his company. You put the time in and you put the work in to these territories. And now that we're a little bit older, it's paid off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And hopefully that once we get out of lockdown, we can resume and keep building these amazing events and concerts for people around the world.
I'm there. When they tell me it's okay, I'll be the first one there.
That's brilliant.
And tell us about the Sunset Winos. What a great concept! Absolutely brilliant concept. I've seen your name come up on the Sunset Winos manifest of musicians. I hear that's a wonderful touring project as well.
Well, the Sunset Winos started pretty much out of my nightclub, which was for many years the Cat Club on Sunset Boulevard.
Yes.
Right, sort of the Whiskey, if anyone knows LA, right on Sunset Strip. That was my bar for 15 years. And every Thursday night we had a jam session. And everyone you can possibly think of, you give me a band, Guns N' Roses, yes, they played there. ZZ Top, yes, they came and played there. Anyone in between, you tell me, and I guaranteed someone from their group played there. And it was the happening thing on Thursday nights. And then we've had a little concept now that the Cat Club is closed due to expanding rents and changes in the market and all that kind of stuff, that we can go out and do a little tour and involve all of our good buddies and go out and do the universal set list and hopefully come to Australia. I know you were speaking to someone about possibly doing that.
That's right.
We just want to take it on the road. We had such a good time. All those years, we did it 15 years, every Thursday night at the Cat Club.
Wow.
There was a band of that caliber on stage at the Cat Club, and everyone did it for free parking and a bar tab. Not that they'll do that again, but that was the original concept.
Wow.
That's absolutely brilliant. And one last question for me, Slim, on Phantom, Rocker and Slick. What a wonderful tune. You sat down for that. You sat down for that song. Now, was there a particular reason why you didn't stand up in that lineup?
Well, because it was right after Stray Cats, and we wanted to do something a little bit different. And the whole story of that, I've just started doing a thing. I don't know if you're familiar with the Patreon platform.
Yeah, so your Rockabilly Rave Ups.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just started Rockabilly Rave Up I do for Sirius XM for Stevie Van Zandt And Patreon is a different platform where you can interact with the fans and share things over the years. And I've recently found a treasure trove of all unreleased Phantom Rocker and Slick, both film and recordings. And I signed up for Patreon, and the fans can go to patreon.com, Slim Jim Phantom, and I told the story of that whole Phantom Rocker and Slick album, how we met Slick, how we got Keith Richards was a member for a little while. Nicky Hopkins did his last recordings for that. And we had, it was one of those extraordinary groups that a lot of household names were involved in it. So if you go to, just tell everyone to go to patreon.com and follow my podcast. It's so inexpensive. It just pays to keep the bandwidth going. Really, it's the most, it's the best $5 you'll ever spend. Patreon.com, and it tells the first podcast I did was all about Phantom Rocker and Slick, and Keith came and played with us, and it was really a special thing. And the next one I'm doing is all about the Cat Club, which we just spoke about now. So I've taken this time to kind of catalog my life a little bit into podcasts, and I've made Patreon the exclusive platform for it. So
beautiful. Well, we'll make sure we put the link to your Patreon page in this post so that everyone who watches this, I mean, you've worked with everyone. So, you know, if you're into rock and roll history, rockabilly history, and, you know, an incredible good story, you have to go and watch this podcast. So,
and it doesn't have to be like $1 a podcast. It just keeps me paying for the bandwidth because I just want to get the stories out. So that's great. It's a very good investment.
No, that's great. And look, thank you so much for talking to us, Slim Jim. We wanted to just check in with you and see how you're going. And you look pretty healthy.
Thanks. I feel great. Manny's my pal, so anytime I come to Australia, Manny's going to be linked somehow. So
yeah, well, we look forward to seeing you next year when we get this week.
Man, we're going to see you soon enough, buddy.
That'll be great. All right, Jim, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much. Take care. We'll see you next year.
Take care.
Thanks, Slim. Cheers.
Buddy. We'll just stay in touch.
We will.
Take care.
Thank you.